Hello everyone, and thank you for listening to this podcast episode. Today's episode is about sleep. So this episode was supposed to come out on March 19th, which is World Sleep Day. But initially this was supposed to be a video uploaded onto YouTube, but due to time constraints and my lack of organization skills, it turned into a podcast episode. I'm also releasing an autism awareness podcast episode as well, along with this episode, so you can check that episode out as well. With no further ado, let's get on with this podcast episode about sleep. Okay, so while planning out this episode, I did make a questionnaire about sleep in general, such as, do you know what insomnia is, and do you know what sleep apnea is, those kind of questions. And I sent the questionnaire to my friends who are also graduated high school as well. And to some of my teachers, who then forwarded it to their students. So in total, I received about 115 responses. So thank you to everyone who participated and answered the questions. Thank you so much. It was really helpful and really insightful. So again, thank you so much. So the first question on the questionnaire was, define healthy sleep. So many of you guys stated when answering were similar. So like when the body feels well rested and re-energized, when you sleep the right amount of time and you sleep comfortably, the amount of sleep that is necessary for you and your body to function properly. Following that question, I then asked you what healthy sleep looked like to you. And again, some of you guys responded similarly, like the last question actually. Here are some examples. Getting enough good sleep so you have enough energy for the day. A good sleeping position, a good bed, a room temperature, a state of mind when going to sleep, in brackets meditation, or being able to let go of all your worries and rest both your body and your mind. So again, similar answers to what World of Sleep Day defines healthy sleep, which is healthy sleep is sleep which restores and energizes a person so he or she feels wide awake, dynamic and energetic all day long. Now answering that question, I then asked you how many hours of sleep do you think a person should get? There were 4 options: less than 5 hours, 5 to 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours, or 7 to 8 hours. So 89.6% of you said 7 to 8 hours, 9.6% of you said 6 to 7 hours, and 1% of you said 5 to 6 hours. Now, many surveys show that the average sleep duration for an adult is about 7 to 8 hours. So if you sleep less than you're supposed to, then your brain and your body systems won't function properly. It can also dramatically lower your quality of life. In 2010, a review of studies was conducted and found that sleeping too little at night increases the risk of an early death. According to several other studies that have been done over the years, too much sleep, meaning more than 9 hours of sleep on a regular basis, can increase the risk of diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and death. Oversleeping is caused by the lack of sleep from the night before or during the week. So, how many hours of sleep do you normally get? So some of you guys said 7 to 8 hours, only 7 hours. Others said 5 to 6 hours. Some of you guys said less than 7 hours of sleep on the weekdays, but on the weekends you get more than 8 hours of sleep. Maybe that's because you work so much on the weekdays or you have school. I've calculated that the total average from all your responses is 7 hours. Now, here's a hard question to answer. How many hours of sleep do you get during an exam period? So this means, when I asked you this, I meant like, how many hours do you get during studying and staying up late, working hard, so you get that good grade for your exam that's coming up? I hope you all answered this question very honestly, because I remember going back. I remember being at school and studying so hard for my upcoming tests or exams, and just staying up at least, only getting like about 5 hours at least of sleep, but working really hard to get a good grade for my tests. So there was a range of different answers from 0 to 10 hours, which was very interesting to see. So 7 of you stated that you get more than 8 hours. 14 of you stated that you get 7 to 8 hours. 21 of you stated that you get 6 to 7 hours, and 23 of you stated 5 hours or less. From that, I've calculated the total average from all your responses, which is 6 hours. So when you guys don't have any tests or coming up and you're less stressed, I assume you get the total amount of sleep. But when a test comes up and you are stressed and you're studying hard, which is most likely, you get the less amount of sleep that you're supposed to. So we're gonna have a little music break right now, but I'll be back with more information, so stay tuned. Alright, let's get back to the questionnaire. We're on question number 6. Do you have a regular sleep schedule and do you stick by it? The options were yes, no, or sometimes. 48.7% of you said sometimes, 26.1% of you said no, and 25.2% said yes. Maintaining a regular sleep schedule by going to bed at the same time every night and waking up at the same time every day, 7 days a week, will improve your quality of life. Regularity is very important for regulating your internal biological clock, which allows you to fall asleep and sleep soundly. So, understanding that we need a sleep schedule, which of the following impacts our sleep more? Alcohol, exercise, or caffeine? 61.7% of you said caffeine, 27% of you said exercise, and 11.3% of you said alcohol. So most of you guys said that caffeine is the one that impacts us more than exercise or alcohol. So looking at the lowest percentage first, 11.3% of you said alcohol. So alcohol is a sedative that can help you induce sleep, but it also causes more fragmented sleep and nighttime awakings. Furthermore, alcohol can trigger obstructive sleep apnea, which I will go more into detail later. Alcohol users have a high rate of self-reported sleep disorders, which rates of clinical insomnia ranging from 35 to 70%, depending on the environment and the stage of usage. There's also evidence that points to sleep architecture disruptions, with chronic alcohol use substantially decreases slow wave sleep time and REM sleep time. REM is, or REM, sleep is a period of sleep that is very deep, during which your eyes and muscles make many small movements. Moving on to exercise or physical activity, 27% of you said physical activity impacts us more. So physical activity is regarded as a safe and efficient way to improve sleep. So according to a recent systematic review and a meta-analysis, teenagers who engage more into subjective and objective physical activity are more likely to have a good sleep. Physical exercise as the sole intervention was also linked to better sleep outcomes in adult patients with obstructive sleep apnea. The National Sleep Foundation has updated its sleep guidelines for healthy sleepers to promote exercise at any time of the day, and as long as it doesn't interfere with sleeping time. Now, moving on to caffeine, which 61.7% of you said impacts us more than alcohol and exercise. Caffeine is a stimulant of the central nervous system. It increases sleep latency, decreases total sleep time and productivity, and it also degrades sleep quality. Slow wave sleep is usually decreased, while arousals, wakefulness, and transitional stage of sleep, which is N2-1 sleep, are normally increased. There was a recent systematic study of the dosage and timing response relationship between caffeine intake and sleep. From that, it has been suggested that the older adults' sleep is more vulnerable to caffeine than younger adults. Now, some of you are probably wondering why I didn't add school as an option among alcohol, caffeine, and exercise. But the reason why I didn't add school as an option is because I knew many people would choose that option. The lack of sleep can affect your school performance. When you are sleep deprived, your brain actually lapses into sleep-like brainwave patterns, which is actually why you and many other tired kids space out during class. You become more distracted, you make more careless mistakes and errors, and you even have a hard time focusing on class assignments or tests. If school is a reason why you're stressing out a lot and is a big reason why you lack the amount of sleep that you're supposed to get, please think about what is making you most stressed out and fix that problem. If you're having a hard time coming up with solutions, ask one of your teachers, ask your parent, ask a friend for advice. So, to conclude the question, which one impacts our sleep more? Well, based on my research and knowledge and from this questionnaire, exercise comes in last, then second caffeine, and then alcohol. So out of the three, alcohol actually affects our sleep more than caffeine does. We're gonna have another small music break, but I'll be back again with more information, so stay tuned. Okay, we're back again after that lovely music break, and now I'll be talking about insomnia. Alright, next question. Do you know what insomnia is, and can you explain? Examples of some answers are: insomnia is the inability to sleep well or sleep at all. It is the medically diagnosed condition and can be affected by numerous things. It is where you can find it hard to fall asleep. You cannot stay asleep, or you wake up early and you cannot go back to sleep. So again, like early on, many of you guys have already an understanding of what insomnia is. And have written similar answers to the definition from World Sleep Day. But for those who don't know what the actual definition is, insomnia is defined as difficulties to fall and stay asleep, or early wakings when you have the appropriate opportunity to do so. Okay, so now understanding what insomnia is, check the following boxes if they are characteristics of your sleeping habits. So 47% of you checked find it hard to go to sleep. 33 of you checked waking up several times during the night. 25.2% of you checked waking up early and cannot go back to sleep. 85.2% of you checked still feeling tired after waking up. And 32.2% of you checked that you get concentration and memory difficulties, or you have concentration and memory difficulties. Following last question, here are some of the symptoms of insomnia. So stress, anxiety or depression, noise, a room that is too hot or cold, an uncomfortable bed, alcohol, caffeine or nicotine, recreational drugs like cocaine or ecstasy, jet lag, shift work, or illnesses and other medications might cause insomnia. Do you think age affects insomnia? 60.9% of you said maybe, 33% of you said yes, and 6.1% of you said no. Now, slow wave sleep, also known as deep sleep, decreases as we age, so resulting in a lighter sleep. As a result of that, insomnia can worsen as you get older. Okay, now do you know what sleep apnea is and can you explain? Most of you guys stated that you didn't know what it was, and I did, I briefly talked about sleep apnea early on in this episode, so here I am going to go more into detail. For those who did answer, did have a similar answer to the actual definition. Examples are here. When you stop breathing in the night for a short period of time. Serious sleeping is a serious sleeping disorder in which breathing repeatedly stops. The actual definition by World Sleep Day organization is that obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA, is a potentially life-threatening sleep disorder. During sleep, it causes breathing to stop and start repeatedly. Now, there are many forms of sleep apnea, but obstructive sleep apnea is the most common one and the one that we're going to talk about today in today's episode. So this form of apnea occurs when your throat muscles relax and block your airway during sleep. So snoring is a common symptom of obstructive sleep apnea. Like insomnia, I did do a similar question here again. So check the following boxes if there are characteristics of your sleeping habits. So 61.7% of you checked daytime sleepiness. 12.2% of you guys checked loud snoring. 7% of you guys checked abrupt wakings accompanied by gasping or choking. 29.6% of you guys checked morning headaches. And 42.6% of you checked difficulty concentrating during the day. 46.7% of you guys checked experiencing mood changes such as depression or irritability. And 26.1% checked 9 times sweating. Following and understanding what sleep apnea is and getting more understanding of what it is, here are some symptoms of sleep apnea. There are multiple factors that can increase the risk of blockage and obstructive sleep apnea, but here are some of them. So, anatomical abnormalities is where the airflow is specifically affected by the size and the location of a person's neck, jaw, tongue, tonsils, and other tissues near the back of the throat. Obesity is the leading cause of OSA, and in up to 60% of cases, it could be the underlying risk factor. Obesity causes anatomical narrowing of the airway, and studies show that a 10% risk in weight will result in a 6-fold increase in OSA risk. So, the use of sedatives, including alcohol, the tissue in the throat will relax as a result of sedative medications and drugs, making it easier for the airway to become obstructed. Looking into family history, people with OSA are more likely to acquire it themselves if they have one or more close relatives that have it. People who smoke, especially heavy smokers, have a higher rate of OSA than non-smokers. So when you're sleeping on your back, the tissue collapses around the airway more easily in the sleeping position, causing blockages. And finally, nasal congestion. People who have difficulty breathing through their nose due to congestion are more likely to develop OSA. We're going to have a quick small music break again, but I will be back again with more information, so please stay tuned until the end of the episode. Alright, welcome back after that small music break. Ending this episode, there are 10 steps that the World Sleep Society recommends you following in order to achieve healthy sleep. Number 1, fix a bedtime and awakening time. Number 2, if you're in the habit of taking naps during the day, do not sleep more than 45 minutes. Number 3, avoid excessive alcohol ingestion 4 hours before bedtime and do not smoke. 4, avoid caffeine 6 hours before bedtime. This includes coffee, tea, and many sodas, as well as chocolate. Number 5, avoid heavy, spicy, or sugary foods 4 hours before bedtime. A light snack before bed is acceptable, though. Number 6, exercise regularly, but not right before bed. Number 7, use comfortable bedding. Number 8, find a comfortable temperature setting for sleeping and keeping the room well ventilated. Number 9, block out all distracting noise and eliminate as much light as possible. This goes for technology devices as well. If you feel that you're distracted a lot by your computer or iPhone or iPad or other technology devices, please put them away so you are not distracted and will fall asleep easily. And number 10, finally, reserve the bed for sleep only. Don't use the bed as an office or workroom. Especially during this time now, please don't use your bed as a place of work. Just use it as a place of sleep. I want to thank you all again for listening to this episode of this podcast episode, which is sleep. Which was supposed to be for World Sleep Day, which is March 19th. But again, thank you for listening to this episode. Please also check out my other episodes. I have an episode about mental health, and I also have an episode about autism, which is supposed to help spread awareness about autism, it is also Autism Awareness Week, so please check that out as well. And I will see you again very soon in the next podcast episode. Again, thank you for listening. Again, thank you for those who participated and answered the questions in my questionnaire. And I will see you soon. Bye.